Imagine a life where health isn't about strict routines or rigid goals, but rather a gentle, mindful process. I spent years struggling with healthy habits, feeling defeated every time I fell short. But what if we could see these moments as stepping stones rather than setbacks? Today, I'm sharing how I found peace in slow, intentional living, using my setbacks to guide me towards the balanced, mindful lifestyle I wanted all along. And as for today, let me tell you what inspired me to get out of the frustration and adopt a different mindset.
Okay, I was doing this long-term project which was taking many years. I was writing many pages and I was doing research. And then somehow one day it occurred to me that, well, I am accepting this long-term project as a long-term project and I'm not expecting quick results. But why am I doing the same thing in terms of my health? So I decided that my health is also a long journey and I decided that I'm going to enjoy this ride. And it's when I decided, that's when I actually started to see results and I broke the frustration.
If you're curious about the history of my trials and errors and the frustrations I had in trying to be consistent with a healthy lifestyle, I've documented the whole process and my frustrations in my previous videos.
Now, reflecting on this experience, I can see that there were three key actions that I took, and those three key actions were: one, I was laser focused; two, I brought in compassion into my life; and three, I built a boat, cut down all the noise, and used this boat for automation. And if you're also struggling to eat healthy, if you're also feeling like your efforts are not taking you anywhere, or if you're feeling like your motivation is being tested, you feel like you're sinking every time something happens, then you might want to find out your healthy eating strategy score from the quiz, which can be taken through the link in the description below. And this score is going to help you determine probably the areas that you're good at and the areas that you might want to work on. So, in terms of breaking the frustration of the failed healthy habit cycle, the point number one is laser focus. Now, what is laser focus? By laser focus, I mean prioritizing. Of course, having many goals is we have more than one goal at a time, and that's fine, but trying to go after each and every one of them as if all of them were equally important was not getting me anywhere. And instead, when I just prioritized and selected one or two goals, and health being one of them, then it was really helpful for me. For instance, I was in Durham, in UK a couple of months ago, and I visited the Durham Cathedral. The cathedral is very beautiful and it has lasted over centuries. So you know what I mean when it comes to building sustainable, healthy lifestyle and healthy habits. We do want something that is long term and that can be done in the long run throughout our life. And that is what having laser focus seemed to really help me develop.
If you want to eat healthy, but you feel like you're sinking every time life happens, this might be an opportunity for you to turn your frustrations into moments of growth. Now, one of the ways of doing that is reflecting on why you might be feeling overwhelmed. You can do that by actually looking at your healthy eating strategy. And I have a free resource, a quiz that can help you to do that. Discover your healthy eating strategy score by taking the quiz. The link is in the description below.
In my last video, I kind of shared with you how I kind of had this epiphany moment of how every effort I was making towards gaining good health was actually counting. So for this also, laser focus was really helpful for me to feel like my efforts were not scattered around, because every time I failed to develop a consistency, I failed to go back to the same level of consistency of doing any healthy activity that I was doing before the break, then I felt like I was starting from scratch. Let's take an example of Durham Cathedral. Um, the cathedral has strong foundations, and whenever we look at a brick wall, there are many bricks. Each brick, let's say, for building a healthy habit is our effort. Then our efforts, when they stack up together, they are capable of making and building very lasting foundations. But at the same time, we can't be throwing bricks here and there randomly and then expecting something solid to be built out of those many bricks that we might have thrown here and there without a plan. Instead, if you look at a wall closely, then of course there are many things more than bricks. But let's just take an example of the bricks in when we are trying to create a wall. If we place those bricks purposefully, with thought and intention, with a larger plan, then that's when the wall is built, rather than just randomly throwing our bricks here and there in any direction. And it's the same thing with our efforts. I felt like even though if I made an effort and the effort was not yielding the same results that I was expecting, I didn't feel like I was going back to square one and having to start over and over again. And that's what helped me with breaking the frustration that came out of feeling like being a cycle of failed healthy habits. Rather, I did know that every effort that I was placed, once I was laser focused, regardless of whatever result it yielded, I knew that it was one of those bricks that was laid with a purpose that's gonna still add up to build something that's gonna last for a long time. Let's take an example of eating well and health. Suppose if well, let's say initially I was like, okay, I became fat, so I need to lose weight. And I could say, oh, I'm gonna lose 5 kgs in 5 days. Okay, I lose 5 kg in 5 days. But what about the next 5 weeks, the 5 months, 5 years from now? Is it going to last? So that's when I felt like whenever I was going for something, a quick fix, a hack that was not going to take as much effort and which was only looking for the short-term gains, that's when I realized that my efforts were not piling up in the same purposeful way as it would if I were laser focused and thinking of long terms. That way I was able to save my time, my energy and my efforts, and felt like whatever I did was still contributing towards my larger goal. All right, if you're also thinking of creating, or if you're also on a journey for some long-term health, making sustainable lifestyle changes, then I think you might also want to check out the quiz. The link is in the description below. This quiz is gonna help you evaluate the strategies that you may have and help you realize why you're feeling scattered in your approach. All right, take the quiz. The link is in the description below. So the second thing I did in order to break the cycle of frustration of feeling like being in a cycle of failure in terms of developing healthy habit is um, giving some space for myself, giving myself some breathing space, and that is including self-compassion as part of the process.
Okay, before we head further into self compassion, why don't you take a moment to share your own moments of growth in the comments below? Now that you know in detail what I mean by laser focus and how laser focus helped me overcome frustrations, you might also be having some thoughts and ideas on how to turn your own setbacks into your moments of growth. I always find it helpful to write down my ideas to make the most out of the sparks of insight. Then I pair it with acts of self compassion so that I can make the most out of the momentum. And for you, it all starts with watching the next video. And this video is part two of this transformation series. See how self compassion transformed things for me so that you can make your own pathway towards your best health and happiness without the stress. See you in the next video.